and I just want to share with you some of the update on the quilt that I showed yesterday. I have a few tips for you uh, on some of the quilting and talk about how I come up with my ideas a little bit. And there's going to be a little bit of demo along with this on some of the quilting that I'm doing on this quilt. So let's get started. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So let's see here. Here we go. Okay. All right. So yesterday I was stabilizing my quilt by stitching all three pieces, the top, batting, and backing, together, and not doing a lot of quilting other than pretty much stitching in the ditch. So you can see this is the last row of blocks here, and I've stitched in the ditch in some areas all the way down, all the way down to the very end. Once I got to the very end, I put a basting stitch here, cut off the excess batting, left about maybe an inch of batting, and now I'm doing all the wonderful, beautiful things that I do, and you can do as well. So how do I come up with these ideas? Well, let's just talk about that for a minute. So this particular border, I had to really take care of it because there was just a little bit of fullness in it right in this area right in here. And so I wanted to take care of that first. And it's not unlike me to actually, once I stabilize the quilt and get everything connected, I will usually start from the bottom, which is the border usually on a quilt, and work my way back up to the top. But because all three layers are all stitched together now, I can roll this quilt anywhere I want and select a block or area that I want to quilt in. So that's the fun of it. So if I get bored with one area, I can just go to another area and start something else. So how I came up with the idea. So on this last border here, I wasn't sure what I wanted, but because of the little bit of fullness that was in it, I knew that I had to do something that was going to kind of take care of that. So we have two different fabrics right here, pieced at an angle. So I divided it up. I stitched in the ditch here, and then I divided this up. And then I thought, well, I'm going to use this line right here, this seam, and I'm going to take my ruler and let's see, can you even see that? Let me just zoom in here. So my ruler has these registration marks on it, and I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to line up. This is a 45-degree angle here, and I'm going to line that 45-degree angle up with the seam allowance here, which gives me the same angle that I will need to do all of the other little V shapes. So then I will take it and I'm going to line it up this way, allowing myself a 1/4 of an inch right here, and then I'm going to stitch this one right here. And then I will bring this and turn this around and line the 45-degree angle here with the seam allowance and stitch straight up. And that's how I got all these little half square triangles all the way across. Once I did that, then I echoed them. So about a 1/2 inch. So I lined up my ruler and I just echoed a 1/2 inch using the registration mark on my ruler and the stitch that I just did. So this one here is echoed, but I also echoed this down here as well to separate the two. And I really liked how that was going, and I did it on the opposite side here. And as you can see, I haven't finished, and that's where I'm going to show you how I stitched that. Now, this area here, These remind me of arrows. And so all four borders are the same way. So each one is split. The last border is split. And so it allows me to do what I need to do on all the other borders. This border here, the arrows go this way, and then over here, they go the opposite direction. And so I kind of wanted them to meet, so I echoed them and on the outside of the arrow, but then I also echoed on the inside of the arrow. And then it filled in the spaces here with just straight lines, echoing those arrows. Up here, I separated, these are two different pieces right here. So this line here, I know this seems kind of wonky, but I like it, and I think it looks really good with this type of quilt. So I made these feathers go in this direction. Very simple, just feathers all the way across. And then I made them go this direction, starting from the bottom. I used the seam, this seam here, as my stem. So every time I came to a seam, I created a new feather. Same on this side, but I started from the bottom instead of the top like I did this one here. And I went all the way across. And then when I got to the end was squared off, so I just kind of eased it in a little bit like this. So I think that looks pretty cool. But now when I go to do this border right here, I'm actually going to have to start from the center of this side of the border and work my way down. So there's going to be some rolling as I go, and that's okay. I'm fine with that, and I'm going to have to do this border the same way, starting from the center of the border. All these, this border and this border starting from the center. All right, due to a little fullness, I decided to go ahead and stipple in this area right here. Kind of let the eye rest a little bit as well. So I think that looks pretty good. That's pretty much where I have gotten today. But I just want to share with you on these arrows here, I call them arrows, that is not what I originally tried to do. I originally just wanted to make straight lines just going right across, and I didn't like it. So I took it out. You can do that, you know, with that trusty little seam ripper right here. I took it out and I decided that I wanted to make it look like the arrow. I wanted it to echo. So that's what I did. So the first one is a 1/4 inch all the way around. All the rest of these are a 1/2 inch distance apart. So see, if we do something and we don't like it, we can take it out and start over. And, you know, not something I like to do, not something I encourage people to do. You know, usually my first instinct is what I usually go with, but I think this works a lot better this way. It looks to me like it's more of an arrow, and that's what I want to happen here, is for it to look like an arrow. Now, when I get up in here, I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to be doing some kind of cross hatching in these areas right here, and really not sure what to do in here yet. Now, I may even change that. I may cross hatch this and stitch something in these, but I know I'm going to have cross hatch in this area right here. And in these areas, the log cabins, very, very simple. I'll probably just echo them and just, you know, just little maybe 1/2 inch or maybe even a 1/4, I don't know, and just kind of make it follow itself up. I think that adds a really nice touch to this type of quilting. This type of piecing. So each block, I'm just going to have to study a little bit and just come up with some ideas. Not all my ideas work right at first, but you know, that's just part of the quilting, and that's what makes it fun. Okay, I also, let me share this little bit right here again. So if you notice, the feathers on the red, they go this way. Same with the purple, they go this way. With the blue feathers here in the little triangles, they go this way. I start them here and finish them here, and the same with the orange. So it kind of draws the eye, I guess. I think that looks pretty cool to keep them a little bit different. Same with the arrows. You know, they're going in different directions. All right, well, let's start this then. So on my ruler, I have those registration marks, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, let's see here. I think I'm going to do this feather first. And I'm going to have to lock in my stitches, needle down, bring up the thread, lock in the stitches, and start from that very corner there. So just bear with me a little bit. I also want to say that I don't worry about the size of the feather that I'm making. I just make it all work and make it fit. And with practice, you can do the same thing as well. I'm going to, I know this is, oh, let me see here. Let's do this. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn on my light because I really need to see. So I'm going to move my ruler out of the way. And now I'm going to make my first teardrop. And then kind of backtrack back. See, not all the same size, and that's okay. What I'm wanting to do is just fill the space, and if I have to slow down, I'm going to slow down. All right, and now while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and stitch this, getting my ruler here, and I know that it's about a 1/2 inch, so I'm just going to set my ruler in position. My 1/2 inch mark is on a stitch line, and I'm going to stitch up to the point here, and then line my ruler up and stitch back down. Now at this point, I can go ahead and travel and hit this area here. So I'm going to just travel across. And let's see here. We're going to go back down and we're going to travel up this way. I have to remember how I did this. All right. And one other thing too is once I get done with this border, I'm going to take pictures so that I can remember how I did this when I start the other borders. Just a little tip there. So this is a 1/4 inch stitch across here, and all I'm doing is I'm just echoing, holding my ruler firm but not real tight. Uh-oh, I see I just made a mistake here. So I went all the way, and that is not something I want to do. So I'm going to cut my thread here, and I will take this out later, but in the meantime, I want to show you on another arrow how I did this. So see, we all make mistakes. So I'm going to start with this yellow one. Locking in my stitches. All right, 1/4 inch. Okay, 1/4 inch echo. And go all the way to the seam. Leave a 1/4 inch distance. Oh, there we go. We got it now. And then back down. Now the rest of the echoing is a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to echo a 1/2 inch, making sure that the line on my ruler is right on top of those stitches. Moving on up, and I'm just kind of judging my distance for my 1/2 inch mark when I turn this, and it's pretty accurate there. And if it's not, I'm going to take a stitch or two to get it where it needs to be. So after many years of doing things like this, you know, I just eyeball it a lot of times. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm not. It just depends. Oopsie. Just depends on, I guess, the day, the mood. So 1/2 inch. The rest of these are 1/2 inch. Oh, see, now I need to just barely move it just a little bit because my line on my ruler did not cover the stitches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is going to travel over to here. Line my ruler up. And now to make this continuous, I'm going to just go back up the seam. Right to there. All right, now I'm ready to do another feather, so let's do that real quick. Now when quilting like this, you really need to relax and just let the machine glide. You're in control. You see how slow I'm going when I actually backtrack here? Very, very slow. All right, I'm going to stop right here, and I want to show you how I do this cross hatching right here. So basically I stopped here, and I could have traveled down here and finished out this one. So again, I try to make it as continuous as possible, which helps a lot time-wise. All right. Let me clip my threads. We always want to clip our threads. All right, I have a couple of tips with this, and I believe I can turn this light out now. There, let's turn that out. Okay, I hope that's better for you. Okay, so when I'm doing this part right here, the cross hatching, you can get lost because of all these little triangles right here that come down. You can really get lost as where you want to fill in your crosshatch. So I have a little tip. I have these little sticky arrows, and I can place them on here telling me, hey, that's where you need to stop, you know, right there on that stitch line and on this side here. Although these work very, very well with the ruler, and you can see that I do have one on my ruler letting me know that I want the 1/2 inch mark for my cross hatch. So this is 1/2 inch cross hatch. Okay, so good old masking tape. I love it for a lot of reasons. It takes any lint off of a quilt, and I use the wider one for that, the wider masking tape. But I'm going to just rip some of this off, and I'm going to place it right here, lay it down, and then I'm going to place it on this side right here. So I know, and trust me, I've done it. So the masking tape is a really good idea for this. So I know that I will not cross this stitch line, and I won't cross this one right here. Very helpful. All right, so let's lock in some stitches here. All right, so I'm going to line my ruler up, and it's really hard for me to see again. So again, I'm going to turn that light on. I hate to do that to you. Okay, so I'm lining. I've got the arrow pointing to the line on the ruler that I want to use, and then I've got it on the stitch line that I've just stitched. So this is 1/2 inch. So it's a 1/2 inch from the stitch line to the outside of the to the needle. I'm sorry, to the needle. So here we go. So I'm going to go all the way up to that stitch line right there. Turn my ruler and travel. All right, I didn't travel enough, maybe a stitch or two more. There we go. My ruler line is lined up on my stitches. Back down, holding my ruler firm, but not real tight. Okay, lining up again. Okay, here we go. And don't get in a hurry when doing this. Take your time. It's all about the end result. It's not about speed. It's about end result and control of the machine. All right, so now I'm going to line my 1/2 inch mark on my ruler with the stitching line over here, and I'm going to go the opposite direction right there to this stitch line, and then travel and line it up again. I'm telling you, masking tape's really awesome. It works really well for lining things up on a quilt, when you're stitching, just what I'm using it for right now, taking off lint, threads. You know, if you've picked out stitches, and you know you get those little tiny tails when you're picking out stitches, sometimes the masking tape will get a lot of that up. So here we go. Okay, so now this one is finished. And let me turn that light out again. This one is finished. Isn't that pretty? It looks really nice. So next what I'll do is I'll just travel all the way over here, and then I'll do my next one, and I'm going to reset my masking tape, because I don't want to take any chances, and I don't want to pick out threads. So I'm going to try to do things like this as much as possible to keep from having to pick out threads. So, and there you have it. And so there will be more progress on this quilt. I'm just going to keep on working on it and coming up with ideas and sharing that with you. Let me turn this around. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Sharing my ideas with you, and hopefully you can try some of them as well. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And I do have a website, Jackie's Machine Quilting, and check that out as well. So thank you so much.